elements of smart energy. So we'll be covering a little bit about how to look at what elements on the electricity bill, smart meter, the smart tariffs, and then some key messages from smart energy. So Kathleen will be able to pop a few links in the chat as we go through, but don't worry if you miss them. We'll be sharing all the slides and the references afterwards so that that resource will be available for you. So I will just get started with what is smart energy. So it really just depends on who you speak to, but essentially it's talking about being more flexible with your demand and or electricity use at home or at your business to match the more flexible supply of renewables on the grid. And as Ireland is pretty windy, it would be, I would say, more than hectic trying to adjust to that or do this on an ad hoc basis. So smart energy references maybe the automation, the digitalization, and the technology, and some of the smart products that are available to enable that, which includes manual and changes of habit. So it's not just all about set and forget. There are some things that you might need to adjust in your day-to-day to capture the best of the smart energy. So I'm just going to take you around starting at the top here. So we've got a little bit of the smart meter, which I think is the really starting point for all of the smart energy that is happening in Ireland today. So this is where I'll go through a little bit more detail about the smart meter later, but this is really what enables you to access any of the smart services or the elements of it. So you can access smart tariffs from your supplier. So these represent at the moment less carbon intensive periods on the grid. And then we've got energy events. So I don't know if you've heard of ESBN networks. Is it a good time? So they're doing energy events, and these are reward. You can get a reward for turning up or turning down, depending on the renewables on the grid. And this is just another form that you can engage with the smart energy. So as I mentioned, the automation, the flexible demand, and optimization all make smart energy easier to interact with. And for example, whether it's the automation that comes through from your smart meter so that automatically they're sending readings, so it's no more estimated bills. And just in general, the access within the home, so how you can manage these and the kind of devices available to do that. And then we've got asset control, which is just really kind of a fancy way to say that a supplier or a third party could control your heat or the charging of your EV remotely. And this isn't really that developed in Ireland yet, but there are potential for that in the future as well. So the prosumer, or this could really be self-consumption, which is out there already with this rooftop solar. And we're seeing that people are able to send that back to the grid so that there's really a lot of positives and they're using their own energy that they produce. And then there's a few exciting things coming. Now, look, they're not for everyone, but I think that the dynamic tariffs, which are linked to the renewables on the system, will be coming out in the next couple of years. And then energy sharing, which would be, I think, of great interest to energy communities. And we will definitely share more information about this as it evolves in another session. So I think it will be deserving of many sessions, really, to say. But yeah, I think that is just covering. So you're seeing that kind of elements of the flexibility, the optimization, the integration, and all of these kind of together make up that smart energy element. Okay, so just running through some of the benefits. So I mentioned a couple, but just to kind of give them a shout out, that the managing and controlling your energy, your bills and your energy use. So these insights, you can make a bit more informed decision about what you're using at home. You're not just getting a total figure at the end of the month, not just of the cash, but of your kilowatt usage. So you're getting that no more estimated bills, and you are just billed for the energy that you use. So you're really seeing the and lower carbon your footprint, microgen payments you can access, and current smart services and future ones upcoming. So the benefits really range from the personal to the wider environmental. I haven't put them on here, but there I mentioned the grid, infrastructure, and energy security are definitely captured, and are they have a positive impact on that. Okay. So then we have what what kind of electricity meter. So the smart meter, which I mentioned, is key. The smart meter automatically gives readings of electricity use every 30 minutes, and there are over 1.8 million out there. So they're in homes, farms, and small businesses. So if you haven't had yours installed yet, you probably have still one of the older mechanical meters or an electronic meter or pay-as-you-go meter. And there'll be, so, okay, so just having a look at the electricity bill, there's a few things that maybe I definitely wasn't looking at before, but I'd like to highlight in relation to smart energy. So as usual, the MPRN, which is your electricity meter, is key to kind of accessing all of these on your bill, and smart meter accounts, which I made it, or uh, energy accounts, which I'll mention later. So I will highlight, so we have the meter reading. So if you're seeing A, which is actual reading, this should be a smart meter. So you're getting an actual reading that is automatically coming through. If you're seeing an estimate reading, this would probably indicate that there's an old meter, or that your smart meter hasn't been configured yet. If you know that you got a smart meter a long time ago and you're still seeing this, you might want to highlight it with your supplier, or contact ESBN Networks, and they'll give you advice about how to resolve that. And so, and if the customer reading, and so that's one that you would have manually submitted yourself. So that is something I think there, just to straight away what you're looking at on your bill. Looking at the meter configuration type indicates what type of tariff you have. So the MCC01 is a 24-hour flat rate tariff. So these would have been what we were historically on in Ireland. And then the MCC02 is the day-night meter. So you should know that that's specifically in your household. And the MC12, this is a smart tariff. So it's giving you energy insights from your supplier. Could be this ranges across an EV tariff, a free day. It could be smart 24-hour or smart day-night. So there's a range of tariffs that are in there. And finally, the MCC 16 is a standard smart tariff, and that includes the day-night peak rates. And then finally, looking at these distribution groups. So the DG1 and DG2 are domestic. And then the DG5 is the non-domestic. So these are low voltage. So these are all the groups that are getting the smart meter. And the three-phase meter on the DG5 will be out in 2025 in Q2. But these also have access to smart tariffs and smart services. The only difference is with the DG5, which would indicate that it's a small business, you'd have to contact your supplier directly to avail of that and see what they have on offer. Okay. So that's kind of it, covering a few points on the electricity bill. So moving on to smart meters. So I'm not sure what you've heard or read about the smart meter in Ireland, but I guess it's a national update to the smart meters, and it's going across the country. And this technology provides better insights for you and enables you to manage your usage rather than just figuring out your figure on your bill. And it accesses smart services, so that it's the technology enables that. I guess to clarify some of the misinformation out there, nothing changes about your tariff. So once the smart meter is installed, nothing changes. Only you can access or change your tariff. So this is something that you control and you can select yourself. And we'll just like to highlight, if you haven't got one yet, you can request it directly with ESPN Networks. And if you're on pay as you go, there'll be an update due on the smart meter element to it in 2025. So we would share more information at that, and ESPN and your suppliers would be following that with you. Okay, so what can you get with the smart meter? So I think the first thing or first step I would say, I would encourage you to engage with is the data insight. So if you pay the bill and have the AMPRM details, you can set up a free account with ESPN Networks. If you already have a smart plan with your supplier, you can probably get insights directly from them. But I would suggest, so if you don't have a smart tariff yet, this is somewhere you can start. So the data goes back up to 2 years from when the smart meter was installed. And this is, and also you can view it in multiple different ways online, and it was updated over the summer, and I think it's a much better and easier to use uh, account and accessing the information. So I would check before selecting a smart tariff. You can look at your usage over a week, a month, or a year. And this also breaks it down, if you can see it here, the day, night peak. So that's really helpful to understand how you're using it. And you can look at it in that way across the year as well, and the month. And I would like to highlight, but maybe we've missed the boat on Halloween, but we've been running some blogs about that. So, and hopefully we'll have more users experience and information on it too. It definitely, for an example with me, I was able to reduce my load because I did a little bit when we were away looking at the vampire or standby load in the house. So it just helps you understand what's going on in the background and also what's going on day to day in your household. So I think this is definitely a first start. Okay, and then I'm going to move on. So the smart tariffs. So these are kind of time of use tariffs. There's at the moment they're very fixed. You usually are signing up for a time with the supplier. A little bit complicated to understand at first, but once you kind of group it by type, there aren't actually that many options in the market on the moment, but there will be hopefully more coming out in the future. So the obvious one is the EV, which has a really can have a boost rate or very cheap rate at night for you to charge at. There's some with free days. There's some smart day night, so just giving you that flex between the day night. And then you have the standard smart, which includes the day night peak. And this is the peak over 5 to 7 p.m. And then I guess there is also the 24-hour smart plan, which gives you a flat rate but includes data insight. And I would say that I would definitely consider your lifestyle. While the data is really important, and I think a good start with anything, it's also good to factor in your lifestyle and your household and your needs when considering what tariff is right for you. For example, if you're mainly home during the week, maybe you are using a lot of electricity in, or you can shift it during the day. Or if you're mainly home at the weekend, maybe a free day is of interest to you. But it's really, it's everyone's different. So you definitely have to check your own information first. In my case, I have a small child, so with a late dinner really wouldn't work for us. And it was a bit of a challenge to avoid the peak at times, but it's something that I think as she gets a bit older, I can review and update as we go on. So I guess it's being aware as well of what options are available for you. Just to be clear, you can go back to a flat rate, and there's 24-hour smart. So yeah, I think there was a bit of misinformation out there, the ability to switch back onto the plan, and that gives you a flat rate and data insights. So I'm just going to move quickly on. So we're aiming to with the smart meter, so we're aiming to empower and enable citizens to take part in the smart energy market. So this motivation this motivate, like we're speaking with you this evening, and to get people using their smart meter, understand the options available on the smart tariff, and think about how this all works together with your low carbon technology. So hopefully making the complex a little bit more easy. And then just moving on to the key messages here. So it's really about connecting your habits and your smart tariff together. So you really align your behavior or what your or activity in your home, and considering that in context as well with your technology or appliances in your home. So moving that activity, bringing in automation or scheduling where you can, and running so you can kind of get the most and or the cheapest time on your tariff. And then I would just to highlight there, guys, are switching your tariff and your supplier every year is key to getting the best value for money. Reducing your use, building on that efficiency message, and I've heard sufficiency recently, and then also shifting your use to see to off-peak times. So this is away from the 5 to 7, and this is to avoid usage around this period. It's most carbon intensive, and then it also now can provide you potentially cheaper rates with your tariff. So I'm sure we'll be back next year with more flexible and dynamic messaging, but this is for now. Just get things connected and think about that. So switch, reduce, and shift. So I'm going to whiz through the last little bit because I think it's better if you kind of navigate onto the SAI website yourself. So the SAI website was updated recently and now includes a section on smart energy for the home and for the business. So under this, it's kept under plan your energy journey, and there's an animation, there's simple information, and there's also home technology guide. On the business, there's similar information about the smart meter and smart tariffs, and also on the technology, so considerations there. So the home technology guide gives you information on the technology itself, and also you can do up to 16 combinations. So it's things you might consider when you mix two of them in a home, and then tips and or what to consider in relation to your habits and the smart tariffs, the time of use tariffs that are out there. So Smart Networks will be providing updates on new developments in this evolving space, and I definitely say evolving space. So that we'll be going, you'll see that on social, blogs, and webinars. And finally, before we move over to questions and answers, I'd just like to repeat our message, and that is to switch, reduce, and shift. So I think we've time still there for the questions and answers. So thank you. I haven't looked in the chat yet, so maybe we